motion's not agreed.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I think it's probably easiest to take 14 and 15 together in the interest of time, just because they're very, very similar and they seek to do the same thing. This is basically a site in the Liberties, which is a long story at this stage. There's a plan for a depot on the site. I think most of us think a depot could probably work there, but we'd also like to see a pitch there. We're not even talking full GAA size, but we're talking a reasonably sized pitch to allow people to train. There are no pitches there. It was ranked the lowest of all the GAA clubs in the area in terms of access to green space because there are none. We've tried to engage on this. I have to say, I just have to be honest, I've tried to engage a lot on this with council management, and Sporting Liberties, one of the community groups, has twice engaged an architect to come up with alternate ideas for how this could be accommodated on the site, and we've kind of gotten nowhere, to be honest. I really want to find the compromise and the solution here. But in the meantime, for the development plan, I think it's safe to say, on behalf of all the councillors in the area, we think that this is we reject. We're rejecting the change, and we'd like to push ahead with this motion here, and we'd ask for councillor support in the hope that we can eventually get a pitch and maybe a depot alongside it on the site. Thanks.
So, councillor, you are taking the two together, 13.14 and 13.15. And you're rejecting the manager's report, and you wanted to go to a vote. Is that what you're saying?
Unless there's universal acclamation, yeah, I think that's it, yeah.
Okay, do we have agreement?
Agreed.
Agreed. Okay.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think I did, but sure, it's good. The usual. Yeah.
Do you want to give some feedback?
Lord Mayor, I think it's very, very important here. This has always been, it's probably the oldest, longest established city council depot. It houses an awful lot of city council staff providing vital services. The proposal put forward by management was for the council to cede 55% of the land to accommodate recreational space and social housing, and to build a more compact depot in 45%. And this is an area, we're very conscious of the lack of green space in this area, but we have developed two substantial parks in the last 4 years, and also upgraded St. Audience Park. So to take the whole depot site and make it into, make it, with the zoning that's proposed in this motion, this site, we cannot have a depot. We can't even upgrade the depot facilities. The depot facilities are totally inadequate. So the council management have, in my view, been very, very reasonable. And our position was supported by the variation in 2019. And just to go back to, playing into the hands of one particular group who wants a full-size pitch without any regard to the needs of council workforce, given how flexible management has been, I don't think it reflects very, very well in the council.
And what about the needs of the community, Chief Executive?
We have responded to the dearth of open space by developing 2 new parks, in this area of the city in the last 3 or 4 years, by a major refurbishment of St. Audience Park as well. So, it's not that we have been insensitive, but we've offered 55% of the land area for community and housing, right? But to put a blanket open space zoning on this means we can't have any depot. And then we're faced with, well, we can't invest in that depot. It's a huge depot and it provides vital service. So, just saying you want 100% for a pitch, in my view, that's just being extremely unfair to the staff who are housed in that depot and who provide vital services for the city, and just dismissing their needs, given how flexible we've been. And what I'm arguing here is exactly what the council agreed in this variation in February 2019.
Okay, councillor.
Can I pop in? Just
yeah.
Try and I understand. You note, I said I'm not talking about a full size pitch. We've had those honest conversations and pushed back about that. I've tried to engage over and over and over again with management of this. We got nowhere. We got no proposal back on how the site could work. I'm very, very open. I think the other councillors are very, very open to variation on this once we get an idea. But the clock simply ran out kept asking for work on, on developing an alternative idea here, a map with a depot on site. We even engaged and paid an architect to do it. And we basically got a 2-sentence response saying, no, that wouldn't work with the streetscape. So like, I'm very, very keen to engage with this. I understand what you're saying. I support the broad depot plan in terms of consolidation. I want staff to have a good place, not arguing for a full-size GAA pitch on the site. But it feels like there's been no movement, and simply a reiteration that there was a deal done by a completely different set of councillors a few years ago that we don't know about. So that's why we're pushing it for a vote here, because honestly, it's out of frustration. I prefer not to be dealing with this here and just have some sort of engagement and a deal and a compromise, but nothing. We haven't been met. It's been very frustrating on that front. And happy to raise this, whatever way this vote goes. Happy to do that immediately afterwards with you, Owen.
Councillor Friel. Very quickly.
This is a very serious issue. In fact, I was the one that was responsible for making sure that the sites, that all the different 12 sites in Dublin didn't go on the private market. But it was agreed at the time that, remember that an awful lot of, we had all our 12 depots in Dublin, that an awful lot of that has been moved to Ballymun. And we do need depots in the city. You can't have everything going back and forth to Ballymun for all parts of the city, whether tea breaks and so forth. So there is a very important point on both sides. And we have until tomorrow night. Is there any chance that the councillors there and management could get together in the morning and come up with some kind of a proposal that they could present to us tomorrow night? And to try and find a solution.
Thank you. Okay, quickly, Councillor Cooney, keep it to 30 seconds now.
Yeah, I understand the position of Councillor Pigeon and the local councillors, that they feel that the depot could be facilitated, like both things could be facilitated, the depot and what resources needed those, and also a playing pitch, which is felt to be necessary by the community. A park is one thing, but they want to have a facility for to play football and to play games, and that's seen as necessary. Can the depot not provide the facilities, in a 3-story facility? Is there not a way of maintaining, a smaller piece of land with the extended facilities for the depot without taking up all the space that would be needed for a pitch?
Okay, thank you very
much.
much.
Depot in the south
Thank
inner
you.
city.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lord Mayor. Can you come in?
At this stage, it's like the rest of the motions. You either accept what the recommendation of the chief executive, or you don't. I don't see how we can, even if we did reach an agreement tomorrow night, by tomorrow night, that will have to be some sort of a verbal agreement to withdraw this motion, or both motions, and discuss the matter, and then bring in a variation into the new plan in the new year. That's the only way forward.
Okay, Councillor Pigeon.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to the other councillors, but I think we'd be keen and aiming for the variation approach. We're looking to do a deal, to be honest with you. I mean that sincerely. But I think this is the way we'd like to hold it would be with the motion that we've put down today as all 5 councillors in the area. But I'm very keen for a variation, absolutely, yeah. So I'd support that approach. I think that makes sense. Pass this motion, and then we can seek a variation to fix something a bit better for everyone.
Lord Mayor, may I just say?
Sorry, no, the manager's going to come in now, Councillor Friel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we've just, if the motions are withdrawn, we'll commit to engaging with the local councillors to try and find a compromise, and the compromise will be subject to a variation in the new year.
Councillor Devine.
Yeah, just as co-sponsor, I wanted to come in, and I'm really disappointed, John,
the Sporting Liberties, in particular, the Dublin 8 area, you know, is bereft of any pitches, any playing spaces, very little public open leisure spaces, and we were really going to push this. You've, I suppose, dangled a carrot saying it would be a variation, and you seem sincere in allowing discussions, but the discussions that we've had to date have led us up the garden path a little bit, I would imagine, because we thought we were getting somewhere. But if you are genuine, and I hope you are, which I believe you would be, let's convene very quickly with all the interested stakeholders, and I'll see if Mike... Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Dara Moriarty.
Hi Lord Mayor, sorry, I'm using public Wi-Fi at the moment, and it's quite noisy around me, so apologies if the sound is quite bad. Can you hear me okay?
No, we can hear you fine.
Thanks very much. I haven't had a chance to speak on this motion yet. I'm a co-signer as a SWIC councillor. I suppose I would absolutely not support withdrawing the motion. I think it's very important that we do pass this to keep it green space, or to reverse it to keep it green space, and then we can negotiate from that position rather than negotiating from the executive position, would be my own point of view. We're not asking to rid this side of a consolidated depot. We absolutely understand the need for that, and the proposal we've got commissioned from an architect proposes a reduction of the size of the consolidated depot of 25% in order to facilitate a full-size soccer pitch and a 2-third GA pitch to enable sporting organisations in the community that have absolutely no sporting space to make use of space that just isn't there. They're pushed out of the community time and time again. I appreciate the executive's position. I understand the greening strategy has brought 2 new parks here, which are very welcome, but that's barely scratching the surface in terms of the balance we need to tip of green space in this area. So I wouldn't support withdrawing the motion. I think we should pass this, make a green space, and then we can vary it and engage with the executive after tonight's meeting. Thanks very much, Lord Mayor, for letting me in.
Thank you very much. Can we have the... Are you going to come back now? No.
Our offer stands, and it's in good faith.
Okay, I think we should go to a vote then.
Yeah, I'd, as the formal proposer, I'd support what Dara just said there, and regardless of how the vote goes, I'd be very keen to engage in a variation and get this sorted soon.
Okay, it'll be
Thanks.
based on the...
If the vote is accepted, there's nothing to discuss. It's going to be zoned open space. What will happen is we will keep a non-complying use there, have the whole area will remain as a depot, but we won't be able to consolidate. So
A variation would fix that, though.
no, it won't. We'll just have a non-complying use. And we will.
Could you say that again, Owen? Sorry, because we missed a
If you pass this motion and zone it open space, all you'll achieve is having a non-compliant use on that site. We won't be able to consolidate the depot because we won't be able to take development work, because it'll be inconsistent with the zoning. So the depot will remain. It's in very poor condition. We won't be able to upgrade it, improve the facilities, and nothing will happen. It'll put a complete stalemate. So passing this motion removes the prospect of any progress.
Lord
Okay,
Mayor,
now...
on a point of clarification.
Yeah, clarification.
My understanding is that the CE's proposal for the depot takes in approximately 2 hectares, and that the recreational proposal takes in 1.7 hectares. Surely in that those parameters, it is possible to find a compromise. It doesn't rule out one or the other. And isn't that really to you take care of the community and you can take care of the staff of Dublin City Council?
Okay, Councillor Stocker, is this clarification or?
Question to the manager. Manager, I'm still struggling to understand why you can say we can talk to the councillors in the local area over the next few months and have a variation in the new year if they go along with what we want now, but you can't say the councillors have their vote now for what they want. They then come to you from a position where they've slightly more bargaining cards and form a plan and do a variation at that stage. It seems to be we will negotiate, but only if we hold the cards, which doesn't seem entirely fair to me.
Can you explain?
Well, we have offered up 55% of that site. Now, it was certainly our view always that that should include social housing. But if the members don't want and just want to give that over to pitches, but we only wanted to keep 45% for the depot. And that's what the current status allows that. If you zone this open space, we can't really do anything. And look, I just think it's going to be very hard to, look, I'd rather leave the status quo, have that engagement, see if we can work around those parameters. But making it open, entirely open space, doesn't actually advance the cause for pitches, because we will continue in non-complying use, but we won't be able to do any upgrade or any consolidation work. So I just think what's before you now appears to, give people what they want, but it actually won't, because it'll prevent any consolidation. And we have nowhere to move those depots to. It'll stay exactly where it is, and we won't be able to consolidate it, because that would require new buildings, and we can't do that. So doing this is the worst possible outcome, in my view, for all sides. What's your
Okay, Councillor Devine, can we now we have to make a
we go to a
decision
vote.
either way.
Really short. Yeah, I think we go for a vote. I would be for the motion and against the CE's report. I think Catherine Stocker said it very succinctly, in that we will have the bargaining tool. And if we're going for a variation, we can go for a variation on the zoning as well at some stage, if that was necessary.
Okay, let's go to a vote then.
Trying to get in there, but I'm afraid I didn't succeed.
Sorry, Lord Mayor, can we just get clarification on that point from the manager? If we do vote for these motions now and the negotiation happens, can we then go for a variation in the future?
Lord Mayor, I just feel...
go for a variation.
Sorry, can you please stop talking now? Hold on. Now, we're going to go to a vote. If somebody has one more question.
I have been trying to make a point, Lord Mayor, but you wouldn't let me in.
Is it a question, Councillor?
It's in connection,
Is it a question for the manager?
Yes, it is a question.
Okay, then I'll let you in 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's this depot is to serve all of South Dublin. Isn't that correct? So it's not just a local issue in that area. I'm sympathetic to needing open space, but I'm also very concerned that the City Council can function and serve all of South Dublin. And if we can find another way of doing that, and that's something that is of concern to all of us.
Okay, thank you.
Lord Mayor, was Seamus's question answered? We didn't hear. Did Seamus ask a question?
I'm going to ask him now just to repeat his question.
Okay.
I was just asking for the management to reply that if we pass the motions now and there's an engagement between councillors and management, can we then go for a variation to what the manager is proposing after we agree this?
We can pass another variation at any stage, so yes.
Okay, let's go to the vote.
Sorry, Lord Mayor, can I ask a question of John or the Chief Executive? The Chief Executive made a statement there a couple of minutes ago stating that if we vote against the Chief Executive's recommendation, nothing will change. The depot will remain as is, and there will be no sports, there will be no football pitch or amenities there. Nothing is going to happen if we vote in favour of this motion. So can he just explain how we can make something happen in terms of the provision of sports facilities or pitches for the space? Thanks.
Under the current zoning, there is provision for us to consolidate our depot on part of the site and for other uses, including recreation uses, on the balance of the site. So that's provided for here in the current zoning. If we zone this open space as now being proposed, then we can't do any of that. It has to be just open space. But we have an existing use there which can continue. And I've nowhere else to move that depot, but I can't consolidate the depot because that would be inconsistent with the new zoning. So we're in we'll keep the existing depot with the existing site coverage unless we go for a variation. But it's going to, in my view, delay the kind of development that I believe members want. Because
the services to the city could suffer.
Okay, we're going to go to a vote then. Natalie?
Now, what are we voting on? On the amendment or the...
Please
We're
come
going
to
to
explain
vote.
this now.
We're going to vote on the CE's recommendation either for or against on motions 13.14 and 13.15. So you're voting either for or against the CE's recommendation.
Okay.
Take hands in the chamber for those who are unable to vote in Modern Gov. Councillor Alison Gilliland.
Against the CE report.
For the C's report.
Carol. Sorry, Councillor Dermot Lacey.
Against the C's report.
Councillor.
Against the CEO's report.
Councillor Dahi Doolan.
Against.
Docker. Councillor Declan Mina.
Against.
Vine.
Against?
In the chamber. Oh, Lord Mayor. Okay, I'll go to oh, sorry, Deirdre Heaney. And Councillor Dunicat. Okay. Councillor Dara Barron.
Against.
Online now. So, Councillor Dara Moriarty.
Against the CE.
Councillor Jane Horgan-Jones.
Against the Chief Executive's report. Thank you.
Councillor Tara Deasy.
I'm against. Thank you.
Councillor Claire Bourne.
Against. Thank you.
Councillor Kieran Perry.
Against.
Councillor Hazel Chew.
Against.
Councillor Breed McGosker.
Against.
Councillor Keith Connolly.
Against.
Councillor Michael Pidgeon.
Against.
And Councillor Terence Flanagan.
Against CEO's report.
Councillor Donna Cooney.
Against.
Councillor Kevin Donoghue. Councillor Donoghue. On Councillor Niall Ring.
Against.
Councillor Vincent Jackson.
Reluctantly against.
Councillor Deirdre Conroy.
Against Chief Executive report on this case.
Councillor Declan Flanagan.
For, please. Thank you.
Councillor Derva Butler.
Against.
Councillor Emer McCormack.
Against.
Councillor Ray McAdam.
Against the Chief Executive.
Councillor Janice Boylan.
Agwena.
Councillor Claire O'Connor.
Against.
Councillor Michael Waters.
Against.
Councillor John Lyons.
Against.
Councillor Mary Callahan.
Against.
Councillor Dahi De Royste.
Against the Chief Executive.
I'll call on Councillor Kevin Donoghue again.
Apologies. Against.
And finally, Councillor Colm O'Rourke.
Against.
Okay.
And Natalie.
Yeah, hi Larry.
Against the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Toole. Okay, just bear with me.
Sorry, Lord Mayor, on a point of information, are we going to finish tonight? Possibly not. And the next chapter is chapter 14. It's quite intricate, some of the motions coming and some of the different zonings and all, and it's possibly, I believe, it's late to be making decisions of this important, and maybe we'll adjourn after 13. That's what I'm suggesting.
I agree with that, Lord Mayor. I think we should stop.
I agree with that, Lord Mayor. People have worked nearly a 13 or 14-hour day at this point.
Yeah, I agree as well, because it was 11 at first and then some changed to 12.
Okay, we'll finish up now. 13, yes.
Let's keep going.
Lord Mayor, there's nothing else left in 13.
We're just waiting on the result of the vote.
Now, the result of that is the CE's recommendation has been rejected, so I can now put the vote, I'm obliged to put the vote to you. Is that agreed? Agreed. The motion to you. Just to confirm the tally so you know, 2 voted in favour and 46 voted against.
Great.
Lord Mayor, can I just come in there?
Sorry, Councillor, we're just going to finish up now, quickly.
Yeah, like I was struck by a point made by Councillor Pigeon that the councillors had tried to engage with the management on that issue, but had no success whatsoever, and that led to this protracted discussion this evening. Like I would hope that the Chief Executive would take the vote that has just occurred in the strength of feeling in the chamber and online to engage with the councillors and the local groups on the issue in good faith, you know, because to my mind, I think the conduct of the Chief Executive tonight was quite revealing. So I would hope that the vote tonight has given him a clear indication of where we stand. And I would hope that he would himself and his officials would engage in good faith and quickly with the local councillors and the local groups on that issue. Thanks.
Right, thank you very much. 6:15 again, and if you get a quick look at your motions that are coming up, that will help. And have a good night, and well done, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.